Hi, everybody. Welcome to Ladies Power Lunch. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today, we're talking about breast health, and it's a topic that's important for every single one of us. So, I'm looking forward to seeing all of you who join us over on Facebook. If any of you feel like joining us here in the Zoom room, you're absolutely welcome. Welcome, Cindy. Welcome, Jillian. And of course, as usual, at the end of April's talk, she's going to give us something free and we're going to have a little bit of fun. So, before we get started, why don't I just go around the room and see who's all's here with us? So, Cindy, do you want to just introduce yourself very, very briefly? Just say who you are and what you do?
Hey, how are you today?
Wonderful. How are you doing?
Good. So, what wonderful things you want me to talk about myself?
Well, you could tell us who you are and you could tell us what your business is. That would be great.
Sure. So, my name is Cindy Marcella, and I am a holistic health coach and also a doTERRA wellness advocate. So, that's what my passion really is to helping people live life, the most healthy way. And so have all different sorts of modalities to help people with that. So that's what I do.
Awesome. And just curious, why did you decide to join us today?
Because I love to learn about different modalities, about really what's there that I can offer. So that was probably my main reason.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. It's such a pleasure to have you. And Jillian, welcome. Good to see you. How you doing?
Hi,
Tell us
I'm
who you
good. How
are,
are you?
what you do.
Sure. My name is Jillian Chase. I am actually also a health coach and an essential oil educator with doTERRA. And I primarily focus, or I want to start to focus my business on pet care as well as aging in place. So that's a couple of the target markets that I'm looking at. And I assume you're going to ask why I joined the webinar. So I just want to share that I'm actually already a client of April's. She is phenomenal. I've had 3 or maybe even 4 scans at this point, and I have done the half body, which I'm hoping she gets into talking about more than breast health, but just in case she doesn't, the half body gives you a great overview of kind of the heat and what's going on for everything from the waist up. So we all love our tatas, of course. I can say that because that's a fairly well-known slogan.
Yes.
But the half body was really what I was interested in because I've had inflammation in my gut to see what was going on in there. So that was extremely helpful. So I know we're going to talk about breast health today, but I just want to put that little plug in too. But thanks for having me.
Awesome. I'm so glad you could join us as well. So let's get into it. Welcome, April. Now, will you tell us who are you and what do you do in the world?
Yes, well, thank you. First of all, I'm so excited. I always love to talk about breast health. That is really my main focus. So my name is April Beaman. I am a medical thermographer and owner of CT Thermography. We are a medical thermography center, which is located in Farmington, Connecticut. And I became a medical thermographer because I was looking at a way to assess my breast health safely and without x-rays some years ago. And really the road moved me to where I am now because I had 2 girlfriends that were diagnosed with breast cancer in their early 30s and they found their own cancer. And for me, it really is about educating women that breast thermography is out here and available to all women to assess early changes in their breast health. But I also am focused on empowering women to take their breast health into their own hands because we can make changes to positively affect our breast health so that we don't have to face the dreaded C word in the future.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about thermography because I'm not sure if everybody who's watching knows exactly what that means.
Yes, absolutely. So if you don't know what thermography is, don't feel bad because most women don't know what breast thermography is. Our standard of care for our breast screenings is the mammogram or mammography, and everyone is familiar with that. It utilizes an x-ray to take a picture of the inside of your breast to see if there's something that's in the breast that would be of a concern. Thermography is very different because we utilize an infrared camera. So it's looking at the temperatures of the breast as well as the veins that are in the breast, because what's important to know is before disease is present and as it's starting to form, the change has to happen physiologically or functionally in our breast. So we have these changes that occur in the breast before something is seen by our traditional screenings. So thermography utilizes this camera that does not touch you, it doesn't compress the breast, and it doesn't have any x-rays, so there's no radiation, and it's taking a picture. So think about it as kind of like a map of your body, and we're mapping out the temperatures. We know that inflammation is hot, and inflammation is really related to the majority of our diseases, including cancer. So we're looking to find early changes that are happening in the breast. So again, we can make proactive changes to affect our breast health in the better.
And so let's say you're seeing some hot spots. What would be a next step recommendation that you would make?
Well, I will say, first of all, not all things that are hot in the body is a concern. We, of course, when we're looking at your thermogram, your picture of your breast, we're looking to see, is it even on both sides? If there is an area on one breast that's hotter than the other, then certainly this could be relating to a plethora of things. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have disease or there's start of disease that's happening. It could be a hormonal fluctuation or imbalance. It could be fibrocystic activity, which most women have, usually about 40% of women. So that is when we would, of course, encourage you to see your doctor to look for what we can do to change what's going on. And that could be a lot of things. They might recommend doing some kind of detox, using some supplementation to help balance hormones, all of those things. And of course, if there's something that looks questionable or suspicious, our thermologists will be recommending additional screening. So then they would ask you to go forward to those other screenings that would look for structure. So an ultrasound or a mammogram to make sure that there isn't a structure that's already formed in the breast.
You know, the C word is very frightening for women in general, and everybody that you could probably think of knows somebody who has had breast cancer, or maybe they're even a cancer survivor themselves. And so what are some of like the do's for just maintaining breast health that you would recommend?
Well, first of all, I would say the first thing is nutrition,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everybody needs to have a nutritional plan that's really going to help overall health, which ultimately affects your breast health. So that's first, right? You have to have that foundation first. What you feed your body, if you're feeding it bad food and garbage, then your body is going to react that way and cause, of course, inflammation, which can be a problem. But if we're talking specifically about breast health, there's many things. First of all, the biggest thing that I focus on my clients with is using natural products, because a lot of our products that we're putting on our skin have chemicals or things such as parabens or phthalates, which are known as xenoestrogens, which basically mimic our own estrogen in our body, which increases the estrogen in our breast, which is important because 2 out of 3 breast cancers are hormone-based and specifically estrogen. So if we're lowering those things, just think your skin is your largest organ. So as soon as you put something on your skin, it's going directly into your body. So one of the biggest things I talk about, other than our beauty care, shampoos, lotions, makeup, is deodorants, and specifically antiperspirants. So I tell my clients, stop using antiperspirants. They contain a lot of chemicals, and they also stop sweating. Right? Of course, that's why we want to use it, because as a woman, we don't want to have sweat. We don't want to smell, and I understand that. But what's in that deodorant or antiperspirant is aluminum. And aluminum is a metal. And when they biopsy breast tissue, they find 2 things, specifically metals and plastics. So we want to stop putting that into our armpits, which is a very sensitive area because the lymph nodes in the armpits lead directly into the top of the breast. So that's probably one of the biggest thing I tell people. If you're using an antiperspirant, get rid of it. use a deodorant, and just like your food, you want to make sure the ingredient list is small and always try to go organic. Or if you're handy and you can make DIY things, you can make a deodorant that's very easy with just using things that you probably already have at home. Baking soda, which neutralizes smells, right? We know that because we used to stick it in our refrigerator. And cornstarch or arrowroot powder, coconut oil, and you can add some essential oils in there if you want it to smell like something. And that's a natural thing to use that doesn't stop your way to sweat, and it doesn't add harmful things into the armpits and then directly into the breast. And there's a lot of supplements too, but you know, that's kind of the biggest thing. And that's an easy thing to change, right? You can just very easily change your deodorant.
Yep, that's fair. That's fair. Is there anything that you think that we should be avoiding to make sure that we're staying on the straight and narrow as far as, you know, our breast health is concerned?
Well, I'm going to bring it back to diet again. You know, I'm really going to focus on inflammation, and there's certain foods that are inflammatory, and also foods that contain more estrogen. So if we're talking about conventional meats, being careful with having those. If you're going to have any type of meat, you should make sure that they're pasture raised and they don't contain any hormones. Also, if you're going to be consuming dairy, which is not really ideal, be careful again that it's not conventional, because there's a lot of hormones that are added to the dairy, and that can affect our own hormones and imbalance us. So really, that is a big thing. And also, the other thing I want to say too is really focusing on the lymphatic system is really helpful for reducing inflammation and moving the lymph, which will also help keep the breast detoxing.
Excellent. I like all those things. I know that you have been in collaboration with some of our members who also do products and things that support our breast health. And I think you guys have an event that's upcoming.
So yes, I absolutely do. That's another thing. One thing that I talk to women about too, and this is such a small change, but makes such a big impact. And that's really the bras that you use. And so I have actually suggested to several of my clients, whether they have very small breasts or whether they have very large breasts, to change the bras that they're wearing. Stop wearing under wires. That's very important. And be careful that your bra is not too compressive. So yes, I actually work with a stylist who is a ruby ribbon stylist, and her name is Carol. And I refer several of my clients to them. In fact, I just saw one the other day, and she goes, you know what? She goes, you saved me, because I was wearing underwear bras and they were so uncomfortable, but I felt like I needed that support. Of course, women with larger breasts feel they need that support, so they're not going to go braless. And when she changed over to a specific bra in terms of ruby ribbon, she loves it. And I could see a difference on her thermogram, which is amazing. There's a lot less heat in that area where the bra fits right underneath the breast. So yes, that is another thing. There's so much, really. And there's easy things to do to improve breast health.
So who should be thinking about coming in to see you?
Well, really, that can be anyone, any age. My youngest client is 21 and my oldest client is 94. And I have clients all in between. Now, we know that our doctors are going to start recommending mammography at about the age of 40, unless we have a family history of breast cancer, and then they might be recommending that you're seen earlier. So my clients can be any age. You don't need a referral from your doctor. You can just come in. It's self-referred. And the big thing to take away, the difference between the two, thermography and mammography, and actually I just wrote a publication that'll be out in January, and specifically about the difference of the two, is thermography is looking at the function. It's looking at changes that can be happening prior to something that forms in the breast. So if we're starting to see those changes and we're mapping them early, and we can see those, and then you're empowered by your thermogram, and of course your doctor can help you out with the right things to do to take your breast health into your own hands to improve things, to ultimately decrease the chances of disease in the future, is really what I focus on.
Oh,
so any age, really.
I see. I know it's really uncomfortable for the mammogram. Is the thermogram a replacement for that?
So I like to say that neither of the two screenings replaces one another. It's like comparing apples to oranges. They look for two completely different things. Mammography is looking for something that's already formed in the breast, which, by the way, takes several years, sometimes up to 10 years to form to the size of a pea. That's noticeable on a mammogram. And that is if you don't have dense breast tissue, because if you have dense tissue, the x-ray can't get through the breast to image it, right? So thermography is seeing those early changes. So it doesn't replace one another by any means, but certainly there's some women that have decided they never want to have a mammogram again, and why should they not use something like thermography? And that, of course, for them might be a replacement, but it does not replace it. And yes, mammography is uncomfortable. That's probably one of the biggest thing that women don't like, right? Is the squishing. It's very, just is uncomfortable whether you have very small breasts or very large breasts or medium breasts, it doesn't matter. So with thermography, there's no touching. The camera does not touch you. You stand in front of a camera and we take several images in different positions.
Let's talk a little bit about safety, because I mean, I know for us here in our offices right now with COVID-19 and the pandemic and all what's going on, we do have to take additional precautions for seeing patients. How have you guys been faring during this time?
We have been doing well. We were considered essential. So of course, in the beginning of COVID, we didn't know, right? Everybody shut down for 2 weeks because nobody knew what was going on. I, of course, have always taken precautions because formally I was a biological dental hygienist. So for me, I've always been very concerned about airborne things because I was, of course, right in people's mouths. So that was very different. So for me, I am a one-person practitioner. So there's no one else in my office. So when you come in, you're coming directly into my office. My office is such the fact that we are able to stay 6 feet apart during the screening. And especially because I don't have to touch you, I don't have to be in your personal space at all. There's also a privacy screen between myself and the screening area. That way, of course, people have privacy, because if you're coming in for more than just a breast, you will be undressed all the way. And so I want you to feel comfortable when you're there. But that privacy screen also helps us stay that 6 feet apart from one another. And of course, there's precautions that are being taken before and after each client. There's time that's set up in between the appointments so that there is no overlap of clients, and that everything can be cleaned and sanitized in the office and had a chance for the airborne things to release.
Excellent. People are probably wondering, does my health insurance cover this?
Very good question. And a lot of people will usually ask that. And as of right now, thermography is not a covered procedure with insurance. Of course, we always continue to fight against that because we think it is very important to be proactive with your breast health instead of reactive. But it is not a covered procedure. However, with that being said, if you have a health savings account or a flexible spending account, which is linked to your insurance, and it's monies that you put towards medical expenses, you can utilize that 100% to pay for your screening, which is what most of my clients do. So, I mean, it's money you're putting towards your medical expenses, which is nice because you typically don't miss it because it's coming directly out of your check.
Wonderful. And it's that time of year when sometimes if you don't use it, it doesn't roll over.
That's very true. So a lot of people scramble at the end of December to get in to see me because they want to use that. So down the wrong pipe. So yes, thermography is not one of those procedures that's covered with insurance, but your health is so important that you shouldn't let your insurance company decide if it's something that you want to have. And I think a lot of people, and this is probably the next question that Dr. Devia is going to ask, but I think a lot of people are surprised to know that a breast thermogram is not expensive. Of course, it's not cost prohibitive for some, it might be for others, but people think, oh my gosh, this new technology, it's probably going to cost so much money. But a breast thermogram is $275. That includes our doctor's interpretations, or our doctors. I take the images, so I have a very easy job. I take the images images. I get to talk with everybody. And then our doctors, our certified thermologists, are the ones that are looking at the images and analyzing them and then creating a report, just like a radiologist does with a mammogram. And then following that, we have a very detailed consultation so that you and I understand what the report is saying, and I'll go through the images as well with people. So it's not like you get your report and you go, okay, I don't know what I'm looking at. I want to make sure that everybody understands their results and what the doctors are pointing out. And of course, that's when I start talking about, okay, so how can we improve breast health? What are we going to do? What are the things that you can do very easily, change, add into your daily routine that will make big, big impacts on your breast health for long term?
Awesome. What are you giving away today?
So I have formulated a breast balm, which was formulated for overall breast health. And the reason why I did this is because early on, I started talking to women about things that they can do to improve their breast health. And I would recommend specific things. In terms of essential oils, this is very important to me because there's been a lot of research on specific essential oils for cellular health, as well as breast health, as well as cancer. There's been research on these. So I've formulated this breast balm to help women use it for overall breast health, as I said, although it's been really useful for people that have breast pain or that have fibrocystic breast or cysts, and it's made a big difference for them. So I'm going to be giving a sample of that away, and that's called my Essential Breast Balm. So one lucky winner is going to win that. Everybody loves it. They love the smell. So what it is it is a combination of specific essential oils that I researched furiously in terms of breast health in a base of fractionated coconut oil, and there's also iodine in it. And iodine is really important for breast health. Most of us are deficient in iodine, but our breasts just love it when we put it on topically. So that's why that's in there. It's a big function of that breast balm.
All right, well, let's see who our winner is.
I'm excited.
And Cindy,
Yay!
you are our winner today. But April, I think you have something for everybody who joined us today.
Yes, so I would love to offer a consultation with me free of charge if you want to have more information about breast thermography. Perhaps this is the first time you've heard about it, but you're like, okay, that's interesting to me, and you want to learn a little bit more. I would love to do a consultation with you either by Zoom like this so we can see one another, or by phone call. And the other thing is, on Monday, I'm having a free breast thermography webinar. So I would really encourage every woman that is listening on Facebook Live, on our Zoom, to come to that breast thermography webinar. It's about a half an hour long, and it's going to be chock full of information. I want to say that me talking about breast thermography is great. This is my mission. My mission is to educate all women about breast thermography. Again, having friends with breast cancer in their early 30s, finding it on their own. This is something that I'm very passionate about. But pictures speak 1,000 words. So when you see images of thermograms and I show case studies, that's really the information that you need to be familiar with, is the technology and really what we're looking for with breast thermography. So that's going to be this Monday, November 23rd. It's a 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which I think all of us are from Connecticut. And that's going to be on Zoom. So you can go to my website at ctthermography.com. And there's an events page, and you can just click right on to register for that free webinar at 7 o'clock on the 23rd.
Awesome. April, it's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and I'll see you on the next show. Like and subscribe. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.